Imagine life as a garden. The principles you choose are the seeds you sow. Let's think about it. If you plant an apple seed, you won't expect to harvest oranges, right? Similarly, if you seed negativity, positivity can't be your yield. Your principles are the fertile soil from which your life experiences grow. Much like a gardener chooses seeds for a bountiful harvest, we too must select our principles wisely. We can choose to foster growth, resilience, and positivity, or stagnation, negativity, and regression. Just as a gardener wouldn't expect a rose garden from planting weeds, we can't anticipate progress from principles of non-progression. But choosing the right principles isn't enough. They need nurturing through action, reinforcement, and reflection to truly thrive. So, what seeds are you planting in your life's garden? Are they seeds of growth and abundance, or stagnation and scarcity? The power of principles is transformative. They can turn a barren into a lush garden, a life of struggle into one of success. The question is, are you planting seeds that will grow into a lush, vibrant garden or a barren wasteland? Picture a garden where every plant is out for itself. Not much of a community, is it? This brings us to our first principle that cultivates non-progression: selfishness. Like a weed invading a flower bed, selfishness can choke out the beauty of connection and cooperation. When we're constantly thinking of me, 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 we're essentially turning a blind eye to the needs and feelings of those around us. The result? A feeling of isolation, like a lone tree in the middle of a desert. Relationships crumble, opportunities wane, and the richness of life withers away. Doesn't sound too appealing, does it? But here's the good news. There's an alternative principle we can cultivate instead. It's called altruism. By putting others' needs before our own, we sow seeds of kindness and compassion. And just like a well-tended garden, this can lead to a flourishing community. But consider this alternative principle: altruism. Planting seeds of selflessness can lead to a flourishing community garden. Imagine a gardener who only planted fast-growing plants, neglecting those that take longer to bloom. It's a tempting approach, isn't it? Instant gratification, the thrill of seeing quick results. It's all so appealing. This is the principle of short-term gratification. It's like choosing a chocolate bar over an apple, or a TV show over an enlightening book. It's the path of least resistance, the quick fix, the immediate reward. But what happens when the chocolate is gone, or the show ends? The satisfaction fades, and we're left hungering for more. Short-term gratification can lead to missed opportunities and lack of long-term fulfillment. It's like a garden filled with only fast-growing plants. It lacks depth, variety, and lasting beauty. So what's the alternative? Here's a more progressive principle: patience. Cultivating patience can lead to a garden full of diverse, beautiful plants. It's the choice to plant seeds today that will blossom into something beautiful tomorrow. Picture a garden that never changes. Same old plants, year after year. Now imagine that garden as your life, a life dominated by the principle of fear of change. This fear, this hesitance to step out of your comfort zone, can lead to stagnation, lack of growth, and even regression. It's like a plant that never gets the chance to blossom, forever stuck in its seed form. But why do we fear change? It's often because change brings uncertainty, and uncertainty can be scary. It's easier to stick to what we know, to keep watering the same old plants, even if they're not flourishing. Yet, what if we dared to plant a new seed, to try a different watering technique, to move our plant to a sunnier spot? That's the beauty of embracing change. It opens up a world of possibilities, of growth, of transformation. Consider the alternative principle: embrace change. Embracing change can lead to a constantly evolving, vibrant garden. Imagine a gardener who blames the weather, the soil, the seeds, anything but themselves when things go wrong. This is akin to the principle of blaming others. It's a common pitfall that hinders personal growth and progression. If we continually point fingers at others for our missteps, we're essentially shirking our own personal responsibility. We're giving away our power to learn, to change, to grow. Think about it. When we blame others, we're essentially saying that we're not in control of our own lives. It's as if we're just leaves being blown about by the wind of circumstance. But is that really the case? Are we not the gardeners of our own lives, with the power to plant, nurture, and harvest our own outcomes? Here's a more progressive principle: accountability. Embracing accountability means taking the reins of your life firmly in your hands. It's acknowledging that the quality of your garden, your life, largely depends on how well you tend it. Taking accountability can lead to a well-tended, thriving garden. Picture a garden that's just good enough. It could be great, but the gardener is content with mediocrity. This, my friends, is the principle of complacency. It's like a sneaky weed, quietly spreading beneath the surface of your life, stifling the growth of ambition and choking the roots of opportunity. When we settle for good enough, we are essentially saying we're okay with the status quo. We're okay with missing out on the potential for greatness. We're okay with not growing, not stretching, not reaching for the stars. Complacency is a comfortable armchair. It's an easy path to follow, but it rarely leads to the extraordinary. It's the principle that lets life pass by, one good enough day at a time. But let's consider this alternative principle. Strive for excellence. Striving for excellence can lead to a truly magnificent garden. It's about reaching out, pushing boundaries, and daring to dream big. It's about not settling for good enough. Gardeners, it's time to choose. What seeds will you plant in your garden of life? We've journeyed together through the thorny paths of regressive principles, from the barren lands of selfishness to the drought-stricken fields of short-term gratification, from the dark forests of fear of change to the rocky terrains of blaming others and the swamplands of complacency. These are lands many of us have tread upon without realizing the long-term consequences, the harvest they yield in our lives. Yet, as we stand at this crossroad, we can choose a different path, a path lined with the vibrant colors of progressive principles. Instead of selfishness, we can choose empathy, planting seeds of understanding and compassion. Rather than seeking short-term gratification, we can opt for long-term fulfillment, sowing the seeds of patience and perseverance. In place of fear of change, we can embrace adaptability, cultivating resilience and openness to new experiences. Instead of blaming others, we can take responsibility, nurturing seeds of accountability and self-improvement. And where complacency once stood, we can foster continuous growth, watering our garden with curiosity and a love for learning. These are the seeds we can choose to plant in our gardens of life, but remember, the choice is yours. The principles you choose to cultivate will shape the course of your life, the harvest you reap. By consciously choosing progressive principles, you're choosing a future of growth, fulfillment, and resilience. But this choice is not a one-time event. It's a continuous process, a daily decision to nurture your garden, to weed out the regressive principles and nourish the progressive ones. It's a commitment to yourself and your future, a pledge to cultivate a garden that reflects your highest aspirations and deepest values. So, as you stand before your garden of life, remember, the power of choice is in your hands. Remember, the seeds you sow today will determine the garden you grow tomorrow. Choose wisely.